What's up, GG Nation? GG Legion. It's your fella again, Straussman, the GG. Finally, I have delivered. I'm sorry, it's been a while for the It Spoilercast. I was supposed to do it a while ago. Finally wrangled somebody up. We brought back Aly today. Thank you for coming back, Aly. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, of course.
And you saw it Thursday. I saw it last Friday before the hurricane hit. Hopefully everyone's still okay. Hopefully everyone. I know some people are still out of power. I never lost power. I got lucky. I'll have some 2K18 videos up later tonight, probably.
Just picked it up today.
So I'm excited to play it. Excited. Over 700 wins last year. Let's make it 1,000 this year. But let's talk some fun. Let's talk some clowns. In reality, though, this movie's not about a clown at all. It's about it. So let's talk about. My bad. Non-spoilers first. We're going to do non-spoilers. Yeah. The first half is non-spoilers, and then second half will be spoilers. So I'll let you know exactly when we get to spoilers. So let's get right into it, Aly. Let's get into the non-spoiler part of Pennywise versus Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård versus Tim Curry. I kind of feel like it's a little unfair to compare the two because to be honest, I feel like both are very different because it's a movie compared to a miniseries. But what do you think of Bill Skarsgård, the new Pennywise? What do you think of his performance overall?
I thought he had a really good performance. I liked him as Pennywise. At first, I thought it wasn't as scary as I anticipated it to be, but when you watch the movie as it goes deeper into it, he does a really, really good job at freaking you out. Tim Curry is a little bit more comical and more like silly, I guess, but I do prefer.
Is that more freaky to you? Because a lot of people say Tim Curry was freaky in his performance because they felt like he was an actual clown, and that phobia we talked about off camera. A lot of people have like a serious phobia of clowns. Yeah. I feel like if you hate clowns and you watch this movie, I feel like you'd be freaked out of your mind.
I feel like the original It with Tim Curry caused a lot of phobias to be born because of his performance.
Yeah.
So.
Like I feel like it's two different. I feel like Tim Curry did a fantastic job, and I feel like Bill Skarsgård did a fantastic job as well because he did his own thing.
Yeah.
I feel like they both did their own interpretation of it, and that's what I like about this reimagining or remake. In a lot of ways, it's not a remake because this is a movie versus a miniseries. You can do a lot of different things. This is definitely a R-rated movie, but not like a super hard R, I would say, for it. But I liked what, a lot of people were really worried, and I was a little concerned too, because Bill Skarsgård's a pretty boy. How he's going to handle a lot of people really thought he was a pretty boy and he wasn't going to be able to handle it. But when I saw that first trailer and that second trailer when he talked, that third trailer, I'm sorry, that reaction video I did, that third trailer where he just said, "Take it." And I loved...
how he says it is, "Take it."
Yeah, I like his performance a lot. He brings a lot to his own table and he's freaky in his own way. I won't... this is the one thing that's probably going to... I wouldn't go into this movie thinking this is a straight horror movie.
Yeah, it's not.
Because it's not. I really thought, being rated R, that it'd be a little more extreme. And honestly, it's not that extreme as you think. It's more of a lighthearted movie than you think. And honestly, it's not about a clown. Yeah. Don't go into this... I know Pennywise behind us here gets a lot of the attention. And Bill Skarsgård's going to get a lot of the press and a lot of the love because he did fantastic. He did a great job. But it's not about him. It's honestly about the kids and them banding together. Their performances were the actual best part of the movie, I would say. I mean, it's about them. It's about them. It's not about Pennywise the clown. So, and another great point that you made up off camera is a lot of people don't know that it's not a clown. It is a celestial being.
Yeah.
He's a creature from a different universe that shapeshifts to make you afraid and kill to kill you. They kind of do a better job explaining it. Do you feel like they do a better job explaining it in this one than the miniseries? They still kind of do a poor job at it because you really don't know yet. They're still discovering
Unless
them.
you don't know like the backstory, or if you didn't read the book, I don't think this movie would tell you much about him being an alien or something not from this world.
I kind of agree because you kind of I feel like you kind of got to know that while you're getting in. What would you say are the biggest differences between this and the miniseries that you enjoyed the most?
Let's see. The biggest differences. Well, like I said earlier, I really think that what I like more about the new movie is the fact that it's broken up into the children first. Part 2 will be mainly about the adults.
Slight spoiler there.
And the mini series it's a mixture of both. So
yeah.
Yeah.
What I like more about the movie is it just has kind of a congruent theme. You kind of can follow a line. Where the miniseries
is all over the place.
The miniseries is actually 2 parts.
Yeah.
It's actually 2 separate parts, but then they put it together to make it into a movie. But it's not like back in the day. Both episodes were played. The first part was played one night, and the second episode was played in the miniseries. I did a little research on it, and they both did fantastic. They both had over like 2 million views, which is huge back in the time for TV. Now now TV stations and stuff want way more views than that. Yeah. But back in the day, that was really, really good in the 90s. It did very well, and it's just a different time. It's really unfair to compare the two because it's they're both it in their own way. Almost kind of like, Ninja Turtles, where everyone wants to compare like the old Ninja Turtles to the new Ninja. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Yeah. It's their own interpretation of it.
It's a different time too. Things are so different when that movie was made.
The biggest problem I had with the miniseries is that they would start out as adults, and Mike would call them, and then they immediately flash back to everybody. Like, they flash back to everybody as kids, and they did it with every single fucking person. And when they're doing it with 7 characters, it's like...
It's hard to follow, kind of.
And no joke, because I just rewatched the miniseries before Hurricane Irma came out on Saturday. On Saturday, literally 10:30 a.m. till 3 p.m. Yeah. That's how long the miniseries was. I watched it on TV.
It's a commitment to watch and to take all that information in at once. It's a lot.
But I don't think it's as bad as I said it was back in a few podcasts ago where I kind of bashed it a little too much. I have more of an appreciation. I see where they tried to do in the 90s, what they tried to, kind of what they were doing.
Trying to accomplish,
Like what they were trying to accomplish there. And I feel like it's not, I can see why people really love it. I could really love that miniseries. But I feel like this movie does a better job because they understood. They understood. They had a better, thread line of telling a story. They wanted to focus on the kids. They did take some liberties. They changed some things up. We'll get into a spoiler cast about it.
Which I can't wait to talk about.
Yeah.
To be honest.
So, was there any likes or dislike of the new movie? We talked about a lot of good things about the movie, like how Bill Skarsgård, the kids were fantastic, storytelling was really good, the bullies were great.
Yeah.
What I didn't like, personally, I'll start off because I know I'll let you think a little bit. Sorry about that. What I didn't like is, personally, I personally don't think this is a horror movie. Like, that's what I kind of had a mindset in, like, oh yeah, they respect horror. It's gonna be a great true horror movie. But honestly, don't go in with that mindset. It's not a horror movie. Like, I was at the edge of my seat. You can ask my friends I was with there. I was like waiting for the scare, and honestly, I only had one jump throughout this whole movie. But not saying it wasn't scary. Like, the whole theater, a lot of people around us were freaked out because it was pretty packed.
Yeah.
A lot of people were freaked out, but I personally wasn't afraid.
Okay.
Except for one part. And we'll get into it in spoiler section.
And personally, for me, there was one scene in the movie where I literally grabbed into my friend and I screamed. Like I was that scared. And I had a few other moments where I got scared as well, but that scene is what got me into thinking, like, wow, they really know what they're doing. They know how to really pack a punch with the scare. And for me, I don't think it's a true 100% horror movie, but it's a great movie. Like,
did you like that though? Did you like that it's not true horror?
Yeah.
Because honestly, this movie is a lot lighthearted than I thought it was, and I liked it. Honestly, I had more appreciation of it than what I had in my mind, where I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be true horror. They're gonna go freaky with it," and they kind of didn't. You know, they had a well-grounded movie, and what I really liked about this is the trailers ruined absolutely nothing. The movie was not ruined at all. The trailers did not show anything. Every scene you see in the trailer, you think, I personally, I saw this in the trailer. It's gonna end like this way, and it doesn't at all. It's completely extended. It's a lot better, and you especially even the opening scene with Georgie. Like even when he just says "take it," that scene is a lot longer than you think. Even the scene where IGN showed you a minute of it, that scene's actually a good 4 or 5 minutes long. Like you see them talk for a while, and I like that. I like that a lot. So let's get into the characters. Let's get into the loser gang themselves. Non-spoiler still.
Yes.
Loser gang.
No spoilers.
So
loser club.
There's 7 characters. Bill, Ben, Beverly, Richie, Stan, Mike, and Eddie. Who is your favorite out of all of them?
Richie.
Richie's a legend, right?
Yeah, I think he's a fucking legend. He cussed more than I would ever expect anyone to do in a movie.
To be honest, that's what we did as kids, though. With your friends, you cuss all the time. You hang out with your friends, and you cuss all the time.
That's very true. Yeah.
And he was in Stranger Things.
Yes.
And he did a
Finn Wolfhard. That's his name. He's a great actor.
He did a fantastic job. His moments were fantastic in this movie. Even his one-liners were. I don't know if he got to ad-lib a little bit or if they wrote them for him, but he did them really well. Everything he said was great.
Yeah.
Everything he said had a point, and it was awesome. Mm-hmm. It was hilarious. Whether it was a dick joke or something. Yeah. It's everything you talk about. It's everything dudes would do when they hang out together. They just they talk like that. My favorite was Beverly. I loved Bev in this movie because Bev in the miniseries doesn't get any shine at all. 90% of her scenes of her getting slapped in the miniseries, and she's just every scene smack. It's Bev, but in this Bev, you really get to know her. You see her side of the story, why people think she's a slut and stuff like that. In reality, it's just girls being mean and jealous of her because she's a pretty girl. And I like the fact that she had longer hair, but I did not like that she cut it. I'm gonna say that. I did not like that she cut it. She was. Yeah.
I think they portrayed her in a better light in the new movie as well. Because in the new series, you don't really see that side of Bev. You know what I mean? It's not as...
You don't see it at all. And I feel like Sophie, I believe her name is Sophie, the actress. She does such a great job playing her. You really... This is the one great thing about the characters of all of them. You feel for these kids.
Yes. 100%.
Every single one, these kids, I'm like, shit. It reminds me, even Georgie. When Georgie died...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, everyone knew that. That's not a spoiler. That's in the beginning. Whenever
that's gonna happen.
Yeah, when Georgie was afraid to go into the basement. Mm-hmm. That was totally me as a little kid. I would hate going to the basement.
Yeah.
Especially because my parents used to freak me out with Chucky all the time. And can you go grab something in the basement back in Green Bay? And I'm like, well, you got to hurry up because Chucky's gonna get you. I'm like, oh shit. I would always freak out going into the basement.
Same here.
And that's how Georgie feels. Mm-hmm. That, and I like that a lot.
Because I feel like when a movie does a good job of portraying the true characters, you know what I mean? And you fall in love with them. I love when a movie does that. When you can truly get to know how they are as a person and their flaws and their downfalls and what they go through as a person. And I feel like it did a great job of doing that.
Yeah, and I like that. Well, there's a couple characters that kind of get pushed in the background a little bit, but I liked how they really did. You really felt for all these kids, even with Bill, the main character. They hid his stutter throughout the whole trailer. All the trailers, everyone was wondering, is he gonna stutter? Mm-hmm. And actually, he does. He does a fantastic job of portraying that. And the whole movie, the trailers really did not ruin anything. How did you feel about Bill? Do you think were you compassionate about him? Were you sorry for his loss for Georgie?
Yes, I totally felt for the kid. I did like him as an actor. I did like his performance, but I feel like they did a better job picking out the old actor for Bill than the new one. But that's just my opinion. But I still do like the new It's Bill.
Oh, interesting. I actually really like this interpretation of Bill. I feel like everything was on point. And you really feel for him. You can see where he rises up in a lot of points to become that leader of the loser gang.
Yeah. He's like the glue for the gang, you know?
He really is. What about Ben? Ben is the heavier set.
Yeah. A little chubby kid. Yo, he gets fucked up by the bullies in the new one. And
by everybody.
And the old one too, but like he got like
no, not just the bullies. Everybody fucks him up. It fucks him up. Everybody, slight spoiler.
That's true. Yeah.
He gets fucked up. He's the one that takes the the brunt of the force, the punching bag.
Seriously, like when you see the movie, you're gonna be like, wow, like poor little fat kid. Like seriously, like.
Well, another thing I liked about Ben, they portray him and his romance with Bev or his crush on Bev a lot more. He's the new kid. He's a loser. No one wants to talk to him. He's fat, and his yearbook. No one signed it
except for Bev.
And Bev, Bev is such an angsty teen in this movie, and I like that a lot because she's kind of the grunge girl of the group. Like she's fantastic, and the way Sophie played her was great. And she signs that, puts hearts on it. And, we'll talk about a little bit more later, but I like how they portrayed that. And Ben, they changed his role a lot in this series. Ben as adult becomes super mega rich in the miniseries, everything like that. Ben kind of takes Mike's role in this series in the sense he's kind of the guy that studies it and studies what's going on in this town, where originally that was Mike's role. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see how that works in part two, which, slight spoiler, I kind of hate how everyone kind of knows that now. So we were talking about Richie. How about Stan? Do you remember? I think Stan's the Jewish kid.
Yeah, Stan's the Jewish kid. Yeah, I can't really talk about his,
We can't talk about it yet, but...
Yeah. But, okay, so his, overall performance I thought was pretty good. Good acting. His character was more finicky, more, I feel like he was one of the characters that got pushed to the back.
Yeah, he was more well-reserved character. And you're right, he is one of the ones that kind of got pushed in the back a little bit. Mm-hmm. What about Mike? What'd you think of Mike? Did you like his new role in this one? Because his role is really different. He's another one of those guys that is kind of shoved in the back. Mm-hmm. He's just kind of...
But I feel like I got more empathy for his character than for Stan's character. Because I feel like... As a Jewish kid, his biggest concern was his bat mitzvah speech thing and speaking in Hebrew. That was his biggest.
Out of the loser gang, he was the one that had the most money. He was the more well developed type character.
Yeah. So for Stan's character, he did have a pretty bad fear, but I didn't really feel that much empathy for him.
Yeah.
But for Mike, I did because he went through some.
Do you agree with his dad trying to teach him that lesson when he was? Killing those sheepies.
Was that his dad?
Yeah, his dad or a grandpa, one of the two. I think it was dad.
Because his parent. Oh, I can't talk about.
Oh wait, you're right. That was his grandpa.
Yeah,
sorry, grandpa.
That was his grandpa.
His grandpa's you gotta.
Yeah.
You gotta take life by the horns and stuff like that.
Because your dad did it by the time you were that age. Blah blah blah. I don't know. I feel like that was kind of harsh, especially after what he went through, but.
Yeah, okay.
To each their own.
So, I like how you held off there. And then Eddie. Eddie's the littlest. He's the runt. He's the overprotective mom.
I loved him. Okay, so I think my second favorite character was Eddie.
Yeah.
Because he reminds me a lot of my sister. My sister is a germaphobe, like he is. So I found that to be really endearing in his character.
I like how they talk about it, because they don't really talk about it in the miniseries till much later. Mm-hmm. Is him having a fear of germs and stuff like that. I kind of like how they integrated that here, and he had great one-liners too.
Yeah,
he had some funny ones, man.
Yeah. So Richie and what's his name again?
Eddie.
Eddie. So Richie and Eddie.
So your least favorite is Stan.
Yeah.
My least favorite would probably be probably be Stan as well. Stan's the one guy you just. the reason why we'll talk about why he gets shoved in the back. We'll talk about it. And I know for exactly why he got shoved back. We both you do too because you saw the miniseries. Mm-hmm. Who was the most relatable one to you though? Do you feel like? Because I feel like they're all pretty relatable. I think most of us have gone through these problems. Besides, Bev, that one. But bullying, we've all been through bullying. We've all been through maybe not that severe. Yeah. But we've all been through bullying. We've all had kind of overprotective parents.
I really feel for Ben because it's like crazy how kids really went through that kind of severe bullying. You know what I mean? And that really fucks you up in the head. Like I really feel for Ben. And
sometimes it can make you tougher too.
Yeah, that's true.
Sometimes there's always a yin to a yang. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you got to look at it at the other side. Like, I'm going to let these guys keep doing this to me, or I'm going to stand up for myself. And he kind of learns that a little bit. Definitely when he gets older. So let's talk about Henry Bauer's gang. The bullies themselves, the jerks. Your homies, not my homies.
They are so... they're just terrible people.
Like, Were they great villains? Were they great bullies? Were they great villains to this story?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. They're complete, utter assholes. Like, screw them. Screw Henry and his gang. But you do feel a little empathy for Henry because his dad is also not the greatest person ever either.
I kind of like how they showed some light of that. Like, they kind of see his side of it, too. Because there's always, again, a yin to the yang and everything. There's a reason why he acts that way. Yeah. And you see it. It's because of his dad's kind of a jerk.
Psychopaths aren't born. They're created, And he's definitely a psychopath because he... Yeah, we'll get to what he does. But he's freaking psycho. Oh, my goodness.
Who out of them? Who you hated the most? Did you hate Henry the most, or do you hate the tall kid? I think it was Johnny with the hair. Yeah. Not as good as mine, but he had hair.
I think Henry for sure is the most.
Henry seemed like
the most despicable. Like he.
Yeah. But you already answered. You did feel for them. I felt for Henry a little bit too. I felt for all of them a little bit because they're bullies, they're dickheads. But you see kind of where most of them are coming from. All right, so let's go to another villains in there. Another part of villains supposedly is, are the adults really purposely ignoring this problem? This clown that's eating everybody, which really is not a clown.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the town is under a spell of some sort because it's not.
You think it's controlling all the adults?
It's not normal for adults to act that way. Like, it's not. Like, they have to be under some kind of spell or, like...
In the miniseries, something. Bev was getting beat up by Henry Bauer's gang, and an adult just looks at her and then just walks away, and she explains that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's exactly a spell. Like, are these adults really portrayed in the right light, or are they portrayed because how kids viewed them? Okay. Is it because this is how we see adults because we're the kids here? Yeah. This is how the kids see them?
When you're a kid, you kind of feel like adults ignore you on purpose, or like you don't know if it's intentional or not. Yeah. And as you get older, you understand that. Yeah,
is that are the adults purposely bad in your opinion, you think, or do you really feel like they're just portrayed?
No, I feel like it has control over the adults, and
because I want to feel like we're viewed, the adults are viewed like this way because of the kids. Mm-hmm. I think we see the adults how the kids see them. As creepy ass individuals and stuff like that. Where Bev was flirty with the medication doctor guy.
that was so creepy.
Just to save the gang a little bit so they could run free, which is pretty cool. It's really interesting. I like the characters were just fun. Like it was really really good. I feel like it's the view of the kids. I don't think really that maybe it is. You might be right. I might be with you a little bit, but I feel like it's a portrayal of us seeing the kid. Like when, like you said, like when we're kids, we don't know better. We just you're an asshole. Like in reality, like you don't want the best for me, but in reality, they do want the best for you. Yeah. And you just, as a kid, you can't put two to two together.
I just feel like when it comes out of his hibernation hiding mode, he gains power from eating children, and the more power he gains, the more control he has over Derry.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because the kids disappear 3 times more than adults do, and the reason being is, like you said, like, well, we didn't talk about it a little bit, but it likes feasting on children because they're easier to scare. Mm-hmm. And his favorite form is Pennywise the clown. So that's what he uses. It's like salting the meat to him. It's like delicious, like,
Yes.
Marinating the meat. He's just salting it. He even kind of mentions it in this movie a little bit, which is pretty cool. Like, in the miniseries he does too. He kind of does, like when they fight him in the sewer, per se. So, almost time for spoilers, but let's go into the story. Did you, you already said you did. You felt for all these kids. You really feel for these kids. Was the story good enough? Was part 1 good enough for you?
I'm going to have to say yes, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed the plot line, the story, the hero, was Bill, in my eyes, because he lost a little brother, and he really banded a group of misfits together, because Bev and
had an orgy. No, I'm joking.
Because Bev and Mike really weren't part of their group, to begin with. It was really just mainly Stan.
It was mainly the 5, and they got the two stragglers along.
It's admirable for a little kid like that to really band a group of losers like that together.
With a stutter.
But
it was really good. It's cool that they portray that. You see these kids come together, rally together.
Yeah.
And, it feels good. It made me feel really good. When these kids rally together to defeat something that's really demonic and tough to fight, and would we have the courage? Would we be able to face your own fear? Everyone says they can, but could you really do it?
Yeah.
Could you face your true self or something like that?
Yeah.
It's always tough to think about. I feel like the story was good enough.
If it was here right now, what would he transform into for you?
I think he would try Chucky first. Because that was you could ask my mom and dad outside. They used to tease the hell out of me with Chucky. I'm not afraid of Chucky anymore, but I think that would be the first thing he would transform into. What about you?
Probably zombie or something like that. I really don't like zombies. That's why.
Yeah, you shoot them over and over again. You, Aly, no wonder why they don't like you, Aly. You shoot them in the head all the time when you play Call of Duty. That's an interesting question. I like that a lot. Say in the comments below, what is your fear if it was attacking you? Mm-hmm. So, all right. So this was the non-spoiler section. We're going right into spoilers. We're getting into the juicy bits.
Warning! Spoiler alert!
Warning! You've probably already been spoiled already because everyone else has a spoiler cast. But here we go. What would you consider this movie?
What genre?
Yeah, what genre? What would you consider this? Would you consider, for me, I would consider it as more of a comedy thriller?
Yeah.
Slash a sprinkle of horror a little bit?
I would say 60% thriller, action, drama, 40% comedy. No, 30% comedy, and then 10% horror. True, gory, demonic horror.
Yeah, I guess so. I have to appreciate that they did not shy away from some touchy subjects. There's a lot of touchy subjects in this movie. Yes. Kids discovering sexuality.
Yes.
Bev was getting tampons. She's discovering, boys are into her.
Yes.
She has a very touchy father.
Yes. Very inappropriate father who is the scum of the earth, honestly. Terrible dad. It goes over the death of parents, which I think was pretty dark, especially in...
Which was Mike's backstory. Yes. Mike's backstory is his parents burned alive, and that's his biggest fear.
Yeah.
Is that he could not save his parents sacrificed themselves for him.
He's running away from Henry Bowers and the other bullies, and he sees this door that's closed, and out of nowhere starts to open with burning hands coming out. And I was confused because they don't really talk about it at first, but then later on in the movie, they're like, yeah, like his parents got burned alive. Yeah.
Yeah, so he saw that's been engraved in his hand. And another thing is the child violence. That's another touchy subject. That's like almost a no-no. But they show a lot of child violence in this movie. Mm-hmm. The kids get fucked up.
Yeah.
The kids get fucked up.
Yeah, like, especially Ben. Like, Ben gets his shit rocked. But a lot of the kids...
Georgie, in the beginning, opening scene, I will say they do a good job recreating what the book is in my head of that scene. But they still shy away a little bit. Because you see him bite down on the arm. Like he bites down on the arm, but you don't see it ripped off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like
you see the aftermath where the arm's gone already and he's bleeding. So it is traumatizing. Yeah. It is a traumatizing thing, and it is a no. But that's why I said it wasn't super like gory and stuff. They do some horror in it for sure. They have like we talked about the Henry Bowers, like what Henry actually did to Ben is he literally lifted Ben's shirt and cut an H. Literally, with his knife. Yeah. Cut an H.
Yeah. That part was really fucked up.
That was messed up. And it's funny when they band together in the drugstore when Bev helps him out by getting the medicine for Henry. Mm-hmm. And that's how they kind of band together the first time. Like, all of them kind of band together the first time. But that's a very touchy subject. Did you think they handled it appropriately? Both things, sexuality and the...
Yes, I think they did. Like, the only scene in the movie that made me really uncomfortable, which they did a really good job at doing and portraying, is the scene between Bev and her dad. And her dad being like, oh, I hear around town that you're hanging out with a bunch of boys. Tell me right now that you're my girl, like your daddy's girl. And I was like, ugh, cringe, like very uncomfortable.
Old Maine, we'll never go there.
Very cringeworthy scene, but I think they handled like all that really really well in the movie.
Do you feel like the adults were more scarier than it? At least in some of these kids.
That's a good question.
At least it's like for Bev, that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
She was more afraid of her dad than it. She hated being home. Her sanctum was the bathroom. That cringy old ass bathroom she lives in. Like,
and it's crazy that like her dad couldn't see the blood, but her and all the losers could.
Why though?
That was crazy.
You know why though? Because that's the hallucination from it. He has this. He's got your fear.
So do you think there's really blood there, or
no? It was all in their head.
Or he's making the kids hallucinate?
That was all in their head. Everything. I feel like that was all in their head. That was a big hallucination, and that's what it's about. It's about freaking you out just to make you tastier. I liked in this movie we didn't talk about, but what we're talking about now is their first center of adventures is not just looking for Georgie; it's trying to find all these other missing kids.
Yeah.
Like I think her name was Betty. Was it Betty?
Oh, Betty Riptide.
Yeah, Ripsum or something.
Yeah,
Betty
Ripsum. Yeah.
They're trying to look for all these kids and trying to figure out where they all went to, and that's kind of the first initial kind of adventure with the gang. Like they're going together. Like, how'd you feel about that scene with Bill where his dad was like, fucking don't go in my office again, Georgie's fucking dead.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, clean this up before your mom comes home.
I'm not gonna lie, that hurt me a little bit when he said that. I was like, oh, like I felt for Bill that time.
That was harsh. That was really harsh for her dad to
this is a big thread in the movie. Like, they tried to make it seem like Georgie's alive in your head. They make it want you to see, like, Georgie is kind of...
Yeah.
He's kind of like...
I feel that, yeah. Like,
yeah, and that's what keeps
there's,
Bill
a
going.
of hope that he is still out there.
And that's what keeps Bill going. Like, and you feel that. Like, you really feel for Bill. Like, he wants so
to
bad
find
that
his
Georgie...
brother,
even though he might really know it, that Georgie's probably gone. But in his head, he's like, I want to make sure he's okay. Like, I miss him every day. To a point where it fucks with him the whole time with Georgie, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
How, like, the trailers in the movie, like, we mentioned the trailers in the movie didn't spoil anything, but we're going to spoil everything for you here. So, what about that scene in the trailer where they're in the basement and he sees Georgie.
Oh man, that part was pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie.
And Georgie ended up being a puppet, dude.
Yeah.
And he decomposes and everything. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very, like, that scene alone got a lot of people in the theater freaked out.
Yeah.
Like, not me. Me, I was like,
saying,
yeah!
And he kept saying over and over, you'll float too. You'll float too. Yeah.
The question is
oh
about it. Like, in that scene, he just stops.
Yeah. He doesn't.
Bill just runs upstairs and he just
follow
stops.
him up the stairs. He just stays down there.
Yeah.
With this creepy ass look in his eye, and that's
Like, how do you, like, I'm a little confused. Like, I feel like he could kill them at any moment.
Yeah. But I feel like in that...
It's like playing with your food a little bit, right?
Yeah, he just wants to freak them out more and more and more. And then when they go to that house where he lives at...
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that creepy house.
Boy, that house is so freaking... demented. It's so creepy.
I think they recreated that house somewhere. I saw it in... They made it a haunted house somewhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they made it a haunted house somewhere, like maybe in Maine. Like, I saw it on Facebook. Someone posted it.
What's ironic is that Richie's biggest fear is clowns, and when they go in that house, he goes in a room and everything turns into a fucking clown, and he just freaks out. Like, it's
that. Let's talk about that scene, because when he goes into that, like, that is such a creepy thing. Honestly, he handled it a lot better than I thought. I'm like, okay, how is it gonna pop out here? And I like how he just jumps out of the casket. He's like, ta-da!
Yeah. But first, in that casket, you see him, like, as a...
decomposed.
Yeah, which is really fucking fucked. Oh, my God.
And, no, I like it where he's like, fuck. That's all he said. He's like, fuck. That's gross. And then he just pops out, ta-da! And then he tries to jump at him, which is really cool. It had a lot of people freaked out about that.
And poor Eddie, like, his arm...
Let's talk about that. Eddie breaking his arm.
It looked so, like, deformed. Like, it was literally snapped in half. Like, Jesus Christ.
It was bad. And I love when Richie goes to set it.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, don't fucking touch me.
Don't touch me.
Don't fucking touch me. And he goes, sure, crack.
Yeah.
Crack. And that kind of the mother, overprotected mother, separate. One thing we forgot to talk about is the first encounter with it. With all these kids. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go by each kid and let's start with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Bill first sees it. It wasn't in his basement, was it? That wasn't the first encounter with him, is it?
I think it was. Like,
I'm trying to really remember.
His first spook with like by him.
It might that basement scene might be the first scene with him seeing the clown.
I think so too.
I know for Ben.
It's in the library.
Yeah. Let's talk about that scene. He's reading about history.
About Derry.
And this war.
And he's flipping through the pages, and as he's doing that, he sees a picture of this fucked up demonic face, and he gets closer and closer and closer to it.
And then this egg appears.
Yes.
And then he starts following the egg.
The whole Easter egg explosion killed a bunch of people. And he starts seeing Easter eggs and that infamous red balloon that it leaves behind. And he goes downstairs.
We all float down here, boy.
And he sees a headless child that's burnt to a crisp walk down the stairs to him. And yeah.
Well, you're missing one part, though.
What?
Where he goes, hey, egg boy.
Yeah.
And that everyone jumped.
Yeah, that was pretty scary. That got me.
I'll talk about the scene that freaked me out in a little bit. It's coming up.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that. But everybody, my friends next to me, they're like, oh! When he's like, hey, egg boy. Because Tim Curry's performance, he calls Ben fat numerous times. And Bill Skarsgård does not. I like how he just kind of calls him egg. Oh, hey, egg boy.
Egg boy.
Hey, egg boy.
Yeah.
And he sees him, but he runs away. Then he runs right into that librarian.
Yeah.
And she kind of saved him a little bit, and then he just runs off. Yeah. That's Ben's first experience. Beverly's first experience with the clown.
Beverly's. I believe that was when she was in the bathroom, right?
Yes, when the blood scene.
Yeah.
She starts hearing.
Yeah, because she heard the little kids who are floating
Yeah,
like,
they're
like
dead.
talk to her through her sink, and she's like, "What the heck?" And she like looks down, and that's when she gets real. Like things.
The
start,
hair.
Yeah,
the hair grabs her,
Yeah.
and then the blood just profusely. It was really good. It was really good. That's the first experience.
Yeah.
Of Pennywise for her.
And then with Stan is at
the Jewish kid. Yeah.
Yeah. He's at church studying for his bat mitzvah thing, whatever. His dad's like, "You haven't been studying. Go to my office and get my book or something."
Yes.
And,
read the Torah.
Yeah, and then there's this really creepy painting on the wall, and that he looks
It falls down.
Yeah, and it falls down, and before you know it, the lady from the painting pops out and scares him. That was a really weird looking monster.
Yeah, it's one of those abstract like Van Gogh paintings with like the screen. Like,
that's what I got the vibe of. It's like a Van Gogh screaming face.
Yeah, like it's a very it's an abstract painting, and you can tell he's afraid of it because the photo falls down, then he puts it back up, and he turns around, but then he gets away.
Yeah.
He gets away, so they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Connecting. What about Richie's first appearance?
Oh, it was a leper. It was a...
No, that's Eddie.
Oh, okay.
Because Eddie's the germaphobe.
Yeah. Richie...
is the one afraid. That's your boy. That's your legend.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Richie, yeah.
It might have been the house. I think it was the house.
Yeah, because before that, he never even saw anything like throughout the
movie.
he
questioned them a lot. He's like, you guys are just pussies? He's like, you gotta be a virgin? You gotta be a virgin to see this clown?
Yeah, I thought he was like impervious at first, but then at the house, he got that room of clowns.
When he looked at the clown and got scared, when he talked about, oh man, I just hate clowns, I'm like, oh, he's gonna really get it in the house then.
Yeah. And then for Eddie, he got a taste of his worst fear, and he saw Pennywise.
He saw both.
He saw both, yes, because some of the kids only saw their.
What do you think of the leper, man? You think that was a good performance? I thought Bill did a fantastic. If that was Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. Like, I thought it was a zombie at first, but
because his mom is putting him on all these pills.
Yeah.
Let's fill in Eddie a little bit. Like, his mom is overprotective, does not want his son going out. Obviously,
gazebos. This is bullshit.
It's funny. And he doesn't find out till much later in the miniseries when he's older about what his mom was doing. And this one, he finds out right away that they're just placebos, they're just sugar pills, there's nothing. It's just his mom trying to keep him in the house because I think she knows of this or whatever. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to talk doesn't want him to get eaten or whatever, or just overprotective, a little too much. Like, you're not allowed to have friends, stuff like that.
So do you think she's like aware of it, or
I think all the adults are. I don't think the adults are under spell. I think the adults really know it is around. They just don't want to deal with it.
Okay.
That's my kind of... Because my view is these kids are seeing the adults just as assholes because they're just assholes.
Yeah. Wow, okay.
Like, I don't think it's controlling anybody. I think it just knows you and wants to feed off your fear. Mm-hmm. And wants to get inside your head. So that's Eddie's first appearance. How about Mike? Mike's first appearance...
It's actually pretty.
He sees it twice.
It's actually
He sees him twice.
It's actually pretty early on in the movie when he first sees or experiences Pennywise. It's when he's running away from Henry, and then he sees that door and the burning hands and all that. But
he also sees the clown through the meat.
Yes.
And Pennywise
he's
is
in
like...
the meat locker. Yeah.
That was a really cool scene, and honestly, he got saved by the Henry Bowers gang, honestly.
Yeah. But, like, in my
Not
opinion,
in a good way. They almost ran him over, but...
Even though the bullies are really crappy and pieces of shits, they're the ones who kind of form the loser gang. You know what I mean? They're the ones who picked them out to bully them.
Yeah.
But they kind of formed their friendship in a way.
Yeah.
In a really fucked up way, but they did.
They did. Like the Rock fight. Like, the Rock War was hilarious. Rock War!
Yeah.
Like, in real life, if that really happened, they would be a lot more severely hurt than
when they're torturing Ben with that knife, he gets away from them, escapes, and he runs into Stan, Mike, and Stan, Richie, and Eddie, who's at the river.
And Bill, yeah.
And Bill, yeah. So
there's no chance in hell that thing was cleaned properly. Like, that's not the only time he gets gutted. Like, it guts him. And he's like, oh, this... You turn into a fucking hamburger. Like, that's what, Richie said.
Yeah.
He's a fucking hamburger. Like, he really gets, like, I don't know how the hell he did not get an infection.
I know.
Well,
for real though.
Like, we'll walk past that. We'll go over that.
Freaking pothole in the movie right there.
Like, because that was insane. He's the one that gets fucked up a lot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that innocent scene where he's the one. Let's talk about the romance a little bit. Because there's two. There's Bill and Bev.
And Bev and Ben.
And Bev and Ben. BB.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Triple B.
Triple B,
yeah. Big baller brand.
It's like a little love triangle.
Big baller
Triple
brand. So let's talk about... We already talked about how Ben and Bev met. But let's talk about them a little bit more with the card. Oh, the August Burns Red card. The postcard he gives to her.
Yeah, and Ben is super smart. They mentioned this in the movie that he skipped a grade, I believe. Like he's ahead of the game.
Yeah, it's like he took Mike's role again. That was Mike's role.
And so he's super smart. So he makes his cute little poem for Bev, and Bev finds it and reads it, and she's just.
But she thinks
it's not Ben. I mean, that it's Bill. So.
I gotta give. It could have been me because that handwriting was just as terrible as mine. But no, she finds that postcard and it makes her really happy.
Yeah.
And, that someone would like her because there's nothing but bad mojo, bad rumors about her being a slut, sleeping with everybody.
When they first
Henry Bowers.
Because when they first introduced Bev in the movie, she's in a stall trying to hide away from these girl bullies that eventually end up pouring toilet water on her.
Well, it was garbage. It was toilet water. Yeah, it was garbage.
Garbage and toilet water.
Which is fucked up thing. Like, she meets Ben right after that.
Yeah.
But that postcard...
And she even warns him, like, hey, the bullies are over there. Don't go,
and they even... When they first meet, he's listening to New Kids on the Block. And everyone gives him shit about it. Except for her. Mm-hmm. And she just kind of holds it in.
Yeah.
And, after she signs his yearbook... And he gets, he says that quote, like, you can come over, or like something. I forgot. He said something to try to get her attention again. And he's like, oh, shit. And then he drops his fucking Walkman or whatever.
Yeah. He was so clumsy and like.
But when the loser gang goes to his room and they see, kind of like a serial killer motive where he has like all these pages.
Yeah.
in his room.
His room is just straight up research about Darian.
Yeah.
And Pennywise, which is
really cool. It's interesting.
Yeah.
But on the door, there's a New Kids on the Block poster, and Bev
was like, really? Like, for real?
Yeah, and then she does a... He's like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can see in a lot of the movie that Ben really has a big passion. Like, he really cares for Bev. Like, he really, really gets emotional. Like, in the rock fight, when they talk, like, where Henry is like, oh, when she gave it all to me, and he, like, grabs his junk.
Yeah.
And Ben is the one that's screaming. Everyone's looking at him like, what the fuck? He's like, ah! Like, he really cares for Bev.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that she kind of doesn't know the postcards for him. Like, in a lot of scenes, you can see he's hanging around purposely. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, pay attention to me!
Yeah.
Like, pay attention to me!
I mean, that whole kiss, between Ben and Bev, I thought that was really...
Yeah, we'll talk about the ending. We'll talk about that in a second. Now, let's talk about Bill and Bev.
Mm-hmm.
And because Bev, like, you could tell they're starting to like each other a little bit.
Yeah,
and
especially in that lake scene, like you can tell that Bill is starting to form feelings for Bev because he's just staring at her, and I'm like, yeah.
They all kind of were though when she was in her bikini. He wants
to love her, yeah.
When she was in her bikini, they're all like, like they're all like, and the interesting part is she's the older one. She's older than the loser gang. Like she's developing. She's getting into her teenager age, and she's developing, hormones and stuff. Mm-hmm. She's discovering love as well, like they all are, because people just suck at this. Like, people are just mean to these kids, like brutally mean. Mm-hmm. But I like how they deal with that. Do you feel like Bill and Bev's dynamic was genuine? Like when she really, like she even says the poem and Bill's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Then she kind of realized, that the poem's not, okay, maybe that you didn't send me that postcard.
Yeah, but I feel like she wanted it to be from him.
She definitely wanted it to be from him, which I'm not a fan of. Bev, you get your shit together and you get it with Ben.
Okay, fat kids need love too, Bev. Okay.
Well, in the miniseries, let's talk about this in the miniseries. They get married.
What? Really?
Ben and Bev get because he does.
I don't remember that part. Really?
Well, when he grows up, he's not a fat kid. He's like a rich Hollywood director, and that's the one thing we'll talk about in the future in a few minutes here. But the loser gang, when they all leave Maine, they all get really successful.
Yeah.
They all get really super
Everyone
successful.
leaves except for Mike.
Mike is the only one that stays. Yeah. And he's the one that reunites them. Like, hey,
it's back.
It's back,
Come
bruh.
back. It's lit.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, because this is the interesting part. I wonder if they're going to do this in the second part, is they all forget about him. They forget about it.
Yes.
They forget about everything for like 30 years,
Yes.
which is a little strange. You
But-
forget everything for 30 years.
But in the miniseries, Richie is super successful, super happy.
Comedian, yeah.
Yeah, like, and he gets a little taste of it because Mike calls him about it, and he's just like, no, I can't do this. And when you think about it, it really got to him because
he starts throwing up and
because
shit.
he ended up committing suicide.
No, that's Stan.
Oh, it's really? Oh, okay. I thought that was Richie.
No.
So Stan committed suicide, not Richie.
Yeah, Stan.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why I feel like Stan was pushed back in this movie.
Oh,
Because Stan-
that makes sense.
Stan is the one that cowers out.
Yeah.
He's the one that never rejoins the gang.
Yes.
Because
he ends up
killing himself. He offs himself. And you can see where Stan starts to detest the loser gang a little bit. We'll talk about a little bit in the end. Because we're getting towards the end. I just wanted to talk about...
Because in the new movie, wasn't Stan the one being like, no, like, I don't want to
He never really did. Yeah, he never really did. He like, and he really feels betrayed by them with a certain occasion we'll talk about in a second. I just wanted to cover a little bit more of Bill and Bev a little bit because I feel like they... Like, I feel like it's genuine a little bit, but they Ben and Bev do, like, after the series is over, like when Mike is narrating and they say, because Bill leaves and gets married. Bill becomes a successful like director or film director, and he has a wife and everything like that. So I wonder if they'll carry that over. But Ben and Beverly, they reunite and they fall in love again, and then they get married like a week or two later, and then she gets pregnant and all that. They all narrate it at the end.
I feel like in the new one they might go with Bill and Bev. I feel like they might go in that.
We'll talk about it. I think they'll be more traditional about it. I think they'll let that happen. I think for just this, part, like, it's funny. Their kiss was funny. Like, their kiss was, like, their ending kiss was funny.
Bill and Bev's.
Yeah, like, it was, like, blood all over his face.
Yeah.
Like, it was, I guess, cute in a sense, because, he took action because she left and he was like, oh shit, I gotta go.
Yeah, he's the one who made the move, not Bev. Because Bev was kind of just like, all right.
They were hanging out for a long time. Like, Bill was walking in circles for a while.
Bev was kind of just like, all right, deuces, see you later. And then he's just like, no, I have to get this one last kiss in.
Because Bill, like, Ben looks at those two a lot. Like, when they all leave, like, the first time they hang out, they all leave. And, he looks at both of them and he feels bummed. He puts his head down. So let's talk about the scares in this movie. There's quite a few of them.
Yes.
The one that got me the most
was it the garage?
The projector scene.
Yes.
I didn't expect him to jump out.
Yeah, me neither.
When he jumped out and he was a giant.
Did you know that was the first scene that they filmed with Pennywise?
Really?
Yes. For the movie, that was the first time they saw Pennywise. That scene.
Well, I know what they did in the director. The director did not want Bill Skarsgård interacting with them until much later, which was smart because all the reactions were genuine.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't acted. It was even with Georgie. I don't think they ever told Georgie that there was going to be a clown.
For the first 3 months of filming it, they never saw Pennywise at all, which I thought was genius on the director's part.
It's really smart. But that scene got that.
That scene got me. I was like.
I legitimately jumped at that because I did everyone my buddy that was sitting next to me. He's like, I expected him to jump out. I didn't expect him to jump out of the projector, and when he did, it was a quick flash, and he was giant, and he had huge teeth, and he was going to squish him. That was awesome. That was really good.
Yeah, that scene was epic. I love that scene.
But there's really the bully in the sewer where they turns into zombies.
Oh yeah.
And then it kills him. Was that a good enough scare for you?
That one wasn't as good, but that one was pretty scary. I think another one that got me was when Bill goes into the basement and
that
one was pretty scary.
The puppet of Georgie,
Yeah,
that was some messed up shit.
Yeah. That one was pretty good.
Like, there's, what else was there? There was the haunted house one, where they're in the haunted house, the room, the clown room. That was a good scare for a lot of people. I heard a lot of people screaming on that one.
Those 3 doors where it says not so scary, scary, really scary. I was like, what?
And I like how they open like the not scary one, and it's Betty, and she's cut in half and she's bleeding.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. I like how they
heck?
did that. Mm-hmm. That was really interesting. And he kind of turns into a werewolf a little bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's not completely a werewolf, but he kind of starts seeming to turn into a werewolf. Mm-hmm. And I like how he's just messing with Eddie. Eddie's arm's broken, he's fucked up, and he's just like, hee 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 hee. And then they break the illusion, and they walk through, and he pauses, and he looks. And then Bill walks in and he goes, I'm not real enough for you, Bill. I love that. Like, his performance of that was great.
A line that really creeped me out was...
I like that. You're not real. I'm not real enough for you, boy.
Was when Georgie was talking to Pennywise and he's in the sewer.
Oof.
And Georgie says this. He's like, you're a really good host. You must have a lot of guests. When he said that, that gave me, like, goosebumps. I was like, boy, if you only knew. Like, he is... he's, that part got to me.
I that whole scene was really good. Like, they throw it at you right like the opening scene is really quick. Like, they throw it right at you. It's like, it's maybe a minute until you see Pennywise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and it's really, really good. Let's talk about the ending. Did you like it? Did you like the ending?
Yes.
Of this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like this was good part 1?
Yes. It has my Aly approval right here.
Well, so let's talk about that. So let's see what happens. So what happens is Pennywise kidnaps Bev.
Mm-hmm. Because Bev is the only one that isn't really afraid of him anymore.
Yeah.
She kind of gets over that fear because she has bigger things to get over.
And honestly, it's also, yes, exactly. And it's also, he knows that the loser gang will come down.
Exactly.
Try to save her.
Bev is kind of like their kryptonite in a way, because they all really care for her.
Yeah, like they really do. Like they all care for each other to a certain degree. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about, like, they go to the sewers. Stan disappears. Yes. And what happens to Stan?
Oh my God! Freaking that thing sucks on his face.
You get to actually see it, and in one of its forms start biting. Yeah. On Stan. But soon as the light hits him, he runs away, and he turns into this fella. Yeah. Right here, like, hee hee.
But what they didn't do at all in the remake, because in the miniseries they have they show Pennywise in its true form and as the light. They don't really do that in
Not yet. He kind of does that at the end when he disappears. Mm-hmm. He says that quote, and he disappears. That's kind of the light he kind of turns into, because he is a celestial entity. Yeah. He really can't be killed. Yeah. But they do show his dark lights dead lights. His dead lights in this, yes. Yeah, which is really cool.
It's like 3 little orbs, and it's pretty cool.
It's really cool. The animation was really good. I don't know if it was animation or props, but maybe a little bit of both. But it was really good when his mouth opened up completely and you saw the lights. Yeah. Like, that's the biggest reason why Stan hates them, though.
Oh, because they all kind of, like, dipped on
Remember, he's like, oh, you left me, you left... Like, no, they didn't leave him. Yeah. Like, they were with him the whole time, but he got lost. Yeah. And that's what, like, even when they formed the blood pack, the blood oath, he goes, I hate you. But he still accepts it. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how it works in Chapter 2, if he's going to puss out again and kill himself.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't.
Like, it's gonna. I think he will. I think
possibility that he will.
Like, I feel like that's why he was kind of shoved in the back a little bit, because I feel that was his role. Mm-hmm. And there's another questionable role with Eddie. If you remember in the series, Eddie, in the miniseries, Eddie, when Stan when it takes the form of Stan's head, and it goes, Eddie, what is your sexuality? Hinting that Eddie is gay. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they're going to continue that with Eddie Because they already changed Eddie a little bit in the sense that he already found out about the placebo and stuff. So maybe he might be a little more independent from his mom. Because in the other one, he was still with his mom, like living with his mom somewhere else.
I feel like they might give him that independent push because he found out so much earlier that they were bullshit, those pills.
Yeah. Gazebos! Like, so the loser gang, after they save Stan, they go all the way down and they see Bev floating up. They grab her. And Ben, let's talk about that kiss.
Yeah.
Ben's kiss.
Yeah, and Ben kisses her, and then
everybody, I like how everyone's reaction, like, what the like, what are you doing?
You know, like, true love's a kiss, and she ends up waking up from that.
That's why I think they're going to keep that going. Okay. Because she woke up because of his kiss. Mm-hmm. And he said the poem right to her after that. But yet she still cheats on him. Yeah. No, I'm joking. They're little kids. They don't know any better yet. They don't know anything.
I don't know. Like, I feel like the Bev Bev being with Bill versus Bill, it's like 50-50. I feel like it could happen either way. But
I think we only think this way because it's part 1. Part 2 will change everything. Because I guarantee I hope it's Bev and Ben, because that's how the miniseries ended, and that was the one part out there, like, that they kind of found each other again. Mm-hmm. You know, because Ben kind of goes off a drunken tangent. He's rich, famous, and you know he's sleeping with a whole bunch of people. Mm-hmm. You know, it's fun when you find love, when you find someone that really gets you.
Hell yeah.
Let's talk about how they defeated Pennywise. Yes. And
well, they didn't really defeat him.
Just for now, because he's gonna. This is the thing. Pennywise does all these killings. He eats, and then he goes away for 30 years. He has to sleep for 30 years.
However,
that's like his one weakness.
They were able to manage to get all the floating children to come down.
I wonder though, were they alive though?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think they were all dead. I think it was just all floating. And I'm actually interested. I actually found that very interesting that they took that literally. Mm-hmm. That we all float down here. Yeah. Like that was a literal thing.
What really freaked me out was when Georgie was talking to Bill down there in the float room, and he transforms into Pennywise, and you see his limbs go from like a little boy's limbs to like
very clown-like.
Yeah, I was just like.
Oh, before that, what do you think of his dance? You think he's a good dancer?
Oh yeah. Yes.
I love that part. I love that part. No, but let's talk about the moment before that, where Bill finally accepts that Georgie is gone. Yeah. Like, you could see the pain in his eye. Like, he really believes that's his little brother, but then he just has the guts to shoot him in the face. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's when the epic battle. Yeah. But let's talk about Bill's sacrifice. He was going to sacrifice himself. Yeah. Because this is what...
I almost forgot about that.
Like, Pennywise kind of, you know... She's going to see it again tonight, which is funny.
Yeah, I am. Part 2.
Yeah, like... But... She's going to grab, like...
Pennywise grabs Bill. Yeah. And is like, listen, I'll leave y'all alone if you let me take him.
Yes. I need one more feast before I go to sleep.
And I believe Stan was like, all right, cool. Or no?
Sorta, you can kind of see he was alright, but Richie's speech, though, was legendary.
Yeah, yes, I agree, yes. Bev and Richie were like, hell no, fuck that, no.
Well, it made it seem like Richie didn't give a fuck. He's like, you made me do this shit, you made me face the clown, you made me do all this.
Yeah, Richie kind of spewed some hate towards him.
And then he grabs the bat and he goes, now I gotta fuck this clown up, and just... And then they have this epic fight, but then, you know... Pennywise changes to all these different forms. You see the mummy a little bit. Yeah. Changes into the mummy. He changes to Bev's dad.
Into the leper.
He changes into the leper. He changes into the painting. Yeah. But they kind of stab him. Kind of defeat him. Not really. He just goes to sleep. He's like, you know what? Fine. You got me this time. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to bed. Yeah. And that's when they form that blood pact. They're all going to come back 30 years later. Let's talk about that now. Chapter 2 and 2017 expectations, because that's kind of a reality that movie's going to be in. It's going to be our current timeline. Yeah. With our current devices, iPhones and stuff like that.
Social media, technology.
Like, I feel like my expectation is they're going to use social media to keep in touch. Mm-hmm. They're going to have like a Facebook or something or a Twitter or Instagram, they're gonna get in touch with each other 30 years later. It won't be a phone call anymore. It'll be like a text or a tweet or something. Which I don't know how I feel about that, but like, how do you expect them to go forward in 2017? Like the 2017 version of this movie.
I feel like the technology aspect of it is gonna really mess with how they view Pennywise, because I feel like nowadays it's harder to get scared because we get so distracted and so caught up in technology and social media. So I feel like it might be harder.
It's such a different time too.
Yeah.
It's just everything's so different. Like our expectations are sometimes way too high, sometimes too, on reality and things like that. Like, are they going to take more liberties and just amp the gore up a little bit? Because I feel like part 1 was beautiful. I feel like these kids acted so damn good.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're going to get better.
I'm honestly excited to see it again tonight because it's that much of a good movie.
I feel like it's almost a shame that these kids don't get to act again.
Well, no,
they'll probably have flashbacks.
So flashbacks will be in part 2. So the kids will appear again in part 2, but obviously it will be mainly about the adults. But the kids will be in part 2, but just not as much.
But I really do feel like it's a shame though, because the kids were perfect.
Yeah, they're great.
This part was good, Like we said, it's not 1958. It's in the 80s. It's 89 movie. So it's gonna be in 2016, 17. The movie won't be out for like another couple of years, probably though. Like I think they're talking. I think they're aiming for 2019.
I was telling Levi earlier, I really want to see Bill Hader play as older Richie. I feel like that'd be the perfect older Richie, in my opinion. Because
I think he would work well, but I'm a little scared because, like, let's talk. Well, this movie made buku bucks. It made over $100 million in the weekend. Like, that was a really huge, big box office for it. $100 million. The budget for this movie was only $35 million. It was a really small movie, which most of you guys are like, 35. That's a lot. Like, most Hollywood movies nowadays are like $200 million budgets.
Jesus Christ.
Like, just to make a movie. And most of those flop. Most of those flop. This movie was $35 million, and they made, they tripled the net worth from the movie. Now, that's not even counting the stuff that's going to come up, like digital sales, Blu-ray sales, stuff like that.
Yeah, this movie blew it out of the park for expectations, acting-wise, just the whole general feel of the movie. They blew it out of the park.
They really did. Like, and again, I'm happy the trailers didn't ruin anything for me.
And I was kind of uneasy about the outcome of it. Like, I came in with lower expectations because remakes usually aren't that great, but this was hands down amazing.
You could tell they really respected this and they really loved
like even Stephen King himself, he was shocked to see the movie. Like, he was surprised at the outcome of
they did a really good job.
His own film. I mean, his own story.
Yeah, like it's tough to do. Like, it's tough to make a movie and face expectations and stuff. That's why we don't work there. Because I don't know how they're going to do a chapter 2 with our current time. But I'm sure they're going to figure it out. They're going to find something that's going to connect these two. Because that's the ending scene in this movie is chapter 2. And you hear Pennywise's laugh. Turtles. It's going to be interesting to see that. Like, I find like it's going to be a tough challenge, but maybe it's a worthy challenge. Yeah. Maybe they really figure it out. Maybe the flashbacks will be cool. Because if you watch the miniseries, the flashbacks to me got really annoying. Because it was like, oh, here, zoom in. And then they zoom out. Oh, I'm little again.
Yeah, because with this being broken up into 2 parts, and it being separated by 2 years of time, I think that's just a good way for everyone to get to know the first movie really well.
The one benefit is all the writers, I think, are going to be back. The director is going to be back. Bill Skarsgård is going to be back. The question is, are they going to be able to afford Bill? Are they going to be able to afford some of these guys? I know he's not a big, but it sounds like they want to get some of these bigger name actresses in the second one to play Sophie and stuff.
I feel like they will, because from how well this movie's doing, it beat Spider-Man: Homecoming by 30 mil of opening night, which is pretty freaking awesome.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it's really good.
And like you said, like, they haven't even made profit from everything else that's going to come from it, so I feel like they'll be able to afford big name celebrities.
Yeah. I don't think they necessarily need to go that route.
Yeah,
Because I don't know any of these fucking kids. Do you know any of them? I don't know.
Only Finn. That's it from Stranger Things.
Yeah, like, and that's probably most people. Most people only knew him from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people don't know probably Bill Skarsgård that much.
Yeah, I've never heard of Bill Skarsgård.
He was in Netflix original series Hemlock Grove. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where he started to get his stuff. He did a lot of Swedish movies and stuff.
Okay, so if the Joker doesn't be portrayed by Jared Leto, I would love to see Bill Skarsgård play.
I heard a lot of rumors about that.
I'm sorry to go off the topic of it, but I would love to see Bill play the new Joker.
I heard a lot of rumors about that, like that could be a possibility, but I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like his face, his build, I think he'd be a really good Joker.
Like, it's really good. Like, the movie, I give this a solid A+. It was really, really good. I like this one a lot. To be honest, I don't think 2 is going to be good. Like, I don't think it's going to be better than this one.
Like, as good as part 1?
Yeah, I think part 1 is the definitive It experience, personally, so far. Okay. I mean, I'm jumping the gun. Don't kill me if, 2 years later the movie's fantastic. We'll get back to it. We'll get to it. Mm-hmm. It's... I really like this one a lot. I thought part 1 had all the best moments of the children. Because now it's going to be interesting. How is he going to make them afraid now?
Yeah, exactly.
30 years later in this newer world. Maybe we'll see a little more to Pennywise, maybe. Mm-hmm. And don't go into this movie thinking it's about a clown, because it's not. Yeah. Go into this movie, just...
It's much more than about a clown.
Also, don't go into this movie about, thinking it's, straight horror. Just go into it and just enjoy it, because it's a 2-hour-long movie, but, man, it flew by because of how good it was. I was like, oh, shit, that was epic. And you feel really rewarded at that. Like, these kids, you really, really care for these damn kids. Like, I mean, you really want them to survive this. And they do, because we just talked about it. But with part 2 and everything. Any last words, Aly?
Go watch it.
What would you give it? What would you give it?
You will not regret it, fam. I would give it a solid, 9.5 out of 10.
That's pretty damn good. That's
a solid 8A. Yeah.
I give it an A+. I like it a lot. I ain't worried to say this movie is really good. They really appreciated Stephen King, and they touched a lot of touchy subjects of kid sexuality and
gross dad problems.
But hurting kids too, kid mutilation and stuff. They handled that. I kind of wanted it to be a little more violent. Yeah. Okay. But it's not what it's about. It's not about Pennywise. It's about these damn kids.
If you're easily offended, if you have an easy stomach, don't watch it. Just don't. But if you enjoy a good film about kids trying to face their fears, watch it.
This might sound sick to most people, but I would like to have a free showing, but it says Beauty and the Beast, and it's it's everyone that's afraid of clowns that sit in the theater, and then you lock the theater door and you just play it just to see the reaction.
That's so fucked.
Because I want to know what, honestly, if you guys have a clown phobia, this movie really freak you out? This Pennywise uncomfortable?
I will let you know, because my friend that I want to see it with, he is supposedly really, really scared of clowns. So I'm gonna be
and I'm not saying the movie's not scary. It just had one jump scare for me. There's a ton of jump scares. Everyone around me was freaked out. They were freaking out. But me personally, I didn't really see it. I just had a lot of fun watching this movie. Yeah. But that projector scene got me though. I'm not gonna lie, I jumped on it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that garage scene gave me anxiety.
That was cool.
Oh
I was like, oh, that one got me.
I was like, oh my god.
And I looked around. I'm like, yeah, that one got me. Yeah. That one got me. That one got me. But I don't want to make it seem like I didn't like this movie at all or anything, or it was not scary or anything. It's definitely gonna freak out a lot of people. Yeah. I guess I've gotten used to horror a little bit, or maybe I appreciate.
I think I have too, because
I think I appreciate it more. Maybe that's it. I just appreciate the art of horror more.
I used to be the person that would shut their eyes.
Yep, me too.
Or close their ears, because I'd be really scared. But for it, I didn't do it once. Not once. I was just really in awe of this movie and the quality of it. I didn't want to miss a second, because it was that good.
Man. Well, thank you again, Aly. Thanks for helping me out again. Appreciate you. Thank you, GG Nation, GG Legion. We're probably going to hit 20.
Me back.
We're gonna have 22. We're probably gonna have 2,200 views tonight. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks to Aly again. Straussman the GG. If you want me to react to anything, follow me on Twitter, Straussman88. Again, I haven't put anything on there, but I'll figure it out. But if you want me to react, hit me up, Straussman88. We'll see if we'll get any more reaction videos or anything. Go see it. Fantastic experience. Really, really good. I wish I saw it in like IMAX or RPX or something, like louder theater. We just went to the regular theater and saw it, but it was really good. A nice crowd. Scared a lot of people.
Yes.
Go watch it.
It's worth it.
It's worth every penny. And we all float down here.